Hey, Lifers, how's it going? Sorry, starting a little bit late here. I was just coming back. Paik is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Thanks, McLuhan G. All right, so we're here with Fans Toys Warhorse, or actually, Fantastic Model Warhorse, to be more precise, or a version of Ironhide that a lot of us have been waiting for quite a while. I've always felt that we've been lacking in terms of MP Ironhide. So this one might be the one that fits your collection the best. But while this is Fantastic Mom, we all know it's Fans Toys. I'm fairly confident this is still IO Lab Studio artwork. It looks very good. Again, one of the things I love about what he does is that he actually makes it look like the toy itself with the panel lines and not just the character, which is nice. We have some video instructions. Just be careful with these. There are some inaccurate parts of that, or at least some parts that they don't really do well that will make your life a lot harder. So we're going to go through that today. Not much else going on there. On the back, we do have the nice large bio here, grizzled veteran. I always wonder, do you guys think of Ironhide as an old veteran or like a younger one? Because he has both in this case, like a younger face as well as an older face that you can use. But let me know in the poll. I actually started a poll for that. But you can see here, not only does he have robot and alt mode, but he also has like that G1 style sled mode. And you can do a kind of a G1 style robot mode as well. He has a ton of accessories. But as I say this, make sure if you haven't picked this one up yet for yourself, you can pick one up from channel sponsor Toy Dojo. Link should be in the description below. They do still have some. All right, out of the packaging, we do get the traditional Fans Toys Fantastic Model styrofoam, old school, as unenvironmentally friendly as it is. You get a booklet that goes through all the instructions of the various modes. Like I said, look at all the accessories you get with this guy. The instructions, while they are pretty good, given some of the intricacies and very specific things that you need to do to get this guy not frustrating in transformation, we'll have to show you in this video. But then they also show you how to get into the G1 like sled mode, which is pretty underwhelming, but it's kind of nice to have, I suppose. And then all the accessories, how to use them in the various modes. You do also get the plastic stat card as usual. Nice render on the front here. On the back, all his stats. He does have a 10. I always forget what those stats mean, so we'll get rid of those. Opening up the styrofoam itself. He comes in robot mode mostly. Nice plastic protector to protect the nice paint. The one thing I will say is that I noticed that while practicing for this guy, I had a lot of paint chips, and you're going to see, I'll point them out. Some of them are in areas that kind of make sense, and some are in areas that I don't know how it's chipping there or why it's chipping there. But he gets a ton of accessories. We're going to just pull them all out, and we'll look at them one by one. You get these head, you get this extra head, a bunch of faces. You get this blast effect, which is cool. It's like a motion swinging blast effect there. Hey, Thang, how's it going? Voodoo Robots, Ironhide, or Ratchet. I know somebody did ask for X-Transbots. I have not bought an X-Transbots toy in, I think, 4 years now. So, unfortunately, I do not have that compare. But I do have Voodoo because that's one of the stand-ins I've had for quite a while. So, let's see. So let's see all the accessories, all this paper. You're going to have a lot of rolling paper when you're done. You will also have a lot of dime bags too. So, you know, if you're running a different type of business out of your house, you'll have a lot of free supplies here. More blast effects. A jetpacky thingy-majigger. We get a bunch of faces. So I think you get 5 total. So you get 4 kind of young faces extra here. Oh, actually, no, the 6, because then you get the extra head with the older face. So you get 4 quote-unquote, 5 quote-unquote younger faces, the one that's stock, and this old head here. All right, what else do we got here? Let me move all this out of the way. All right, let's just look at the accessories real quick. He has this kind of blaster thing here, which is nicely chromed out. And even on this detail back here, I thought maybe it could pop out, but as far as I can tell, you can't seem to extend it or rotate it. It'd be cool if you could. It also has a little lever here. Where's my spudger? I need to make sure I have... Oop, sorry about that. Sorry, knocked my camera with my knee. Definitely going to want like a spudger or some kind of tool to help you out. Sorry for the whiplash here. We have two identical guns here, which are nicely molded and painted silver. Oh, I thought that was scratch. You have this kind of jetpacky thing. Honestly, I forgot to check if he can. I was like, I didn't check, but I'm like 99% sure that he can use this on the pack. But yes, he can. He has these two guns, or this kind of drill gun thingy here with two handles, should you need two handles for your gun. Or you can split it out and have a small gun and a big gun. I'm not going to lie. I didn't even know that was a thing until just now. I don't even know if the instructions show that. I got to look. Do they show that in the instructions? I don't think they... Oh, well, maybe they do in the front. But I feel like I didn't know that at all. I just was playing around here. Yeah, I don't know that they show it. But we learned together. I was wondering why I had two handles, and it looked like it could slide apart, and I just pulled it apart, and yes, it is. I don't know if... I don't even know if I saw that in the video manual, but I skimmed through the early parts of that with the accessories. This is a part that you're going to need just for that sled mode. Another gun here, which is super chromed out. It also has a flip-down handle. This one's really nice looking, honestly. Feels nice. This is actually the worst gun, though, in terms of being handheld because it's vacuum chromed. The tab doesn't work very well. He does have a couple of blast effects that are separate. So these can be used both in the jetpacks as kind of thruster effects, but also on this gun, because it has a little peg here and a little peg hole, or the opposite, really. You're going to use it for that. You can't use it for this, even though there's a hole here, because this hole's not big enough. I want to see if it works with this gun that I just found. No, it doesn't, because there's no peg hole there. But in any case, there's those blast effects. And this one's really meant to go with the big chrome gun, like so. It only has one hole here, but then I'm looking. It looks like it might... I didn't check this or not, but it actually looks like there's a little peg on this one. Maybe it's just a sprue mark. But in any case, it's really designed to be used with this gun. And again, it's unfortunate that it's designed to be used with this gun because this blast effect is obviously very big and very heavy. And like I said, this handle is the worst in terms of tolerances. All right, so faces. He has the straight face that you can see here. He has kind of a open, slightly smiling face. He has an open, slightly scared face, I guess. He has an open, very happy face, and then a gritting teeth face here. So he has all of those faces, and then he has one alternate head, which reminds me of like Old Man Rodimus, or maybe kind of like Cup, I guess, just old, as robots can get old, apparently. And he has a different crest, as you can see here. This really reminds me of Rodimus, though. Old Man Rodimus. So yeah, we'll show those off. Let's move all this to the side for just a second. And let's talk about him in robot mode. Hey, Frankly Lawless. Give me 1 second. Let me actually scoot this down a little bit to make it a little bit more level so you're not looking too far down at him. All right, so out of packaging, he's basically in robot mode. You just need to extend the arms like so. In the unboxing video, the official one, they did say if yours wasn't tabbed in here, yours might have been loose like this or something like that. But really, you just need to make sure that this red tab what's going on here? Oh, there we go. You just need to make sure that that red tab goes up and around and tabs in to that neck panel here. And then you have Warhorse in his robot mode. There shouldn't be anything else. And he looks really, really good in robot mode. I did always kind of dislike the size of the chest window. I feel like it should be a bit wider. But I know why they did it. They didn't want to have the angle here. But overall, I think it should be slightly wider than it is here. Some people may also not like the translucent blue. I don't mind it so much, but I'm sure if you have Reaper labels, I'm sure they'll do something with it. Doing a quick 360, he looks really nice. He has the pretty standard backpack that we have for Ironhide. He's very, very cleaned up. And the other things I really like about this are the nice detailed lines here. These are super clean. Like these lines that go around the forearm and the outside of the knees, they look really, really clean. I don't know how they did that, but these are some of the cleanest paint work that I've seen from any transforming figure. They're very, very nice. And they give a little bit of detail. As you all know, I don't love the super cartoony look where everything is just big blocks and so forth. But this does a good mix of it. He has the iconic diamond crotch and the kind of ugly crotch plates, but that's pretty accurate for the character itself. In robot mode, the one thing I will complain about, and you'll notice this right away, is that his knee ratchets, the upper knee ratchets, are very loose, and you can just see that he kind of wobbles upper body wise. I don't love that. I also don't love that he kind of leans forward as well. You can do things like work with the different knee ratchets and stuff like that to get it so he's not. He has a lower knee joint that's friction that's a little too loose as well. You can probably tighten that up by tightening up the screw on the inside of the leg, but that doesn't fix the upper knee ratchets, which are just, there's too much play in between the joints. So minor complaint, but in terms of overall aesthetics, I think he looks really good. I think the face sculpt is spot on. I like the younger looking one. I do not like this one. But if you do, it's very easy to replace. You just turn the head to the side. You can see it's on a mushroom peg. You can just slide that off. Slide that on if you like that. I'm not going to do it because we're going to keep on the young face. And then, oops. I broke my head. Well, not really broke it, but the screw cover came off. To replace the face, the instructions say you have to take out the front crest. I don't know why. Like, I wasn't even able to get it out. You really don't need to do that. Just pull up on the face, and it should come out. I say that, and now I can't get it out. But earlier, I was swapping out the faces for the thumbnail, and all I needed to do, yeah, there we go. Come on. Now it's fighting with me. Maybe because I dropped it. Might be mad about that. Oh. Oh, the head crest is coming off now. But again, I don't know why you need to do that. It's just pegged into here. And they don't have a replacement crest. So I don't know why they want you to take that out at all. And you can't swap on this other crest. So I don't even know why they made it removable. Probably for Ratchet. Because Ratchet will have the antenna kind of thing, but you can swap it off and give him his happy, goofy face. Like so. And again, you can just slide that back onto the mushroom peg. Not too tight, not too loose. It's just right in terms of tolerances. All right. Accessory-wise, again, I'll just show off the guns. Almost all the guns work really well. The only complaint I have is, again, with this one here. While it does tab on and hold okay with nothing on it, once you try to put that blast effect on, you're going to have a heck of a time keeping it on because it's quite heavy. So you just have to be very careful. It does hold, but just be careful with it. The other guns hold on quite well. And again, you can separate this one and have two guns. Separate one. They can tab on here. He just has guns aplenty, so you will not be short on guns. I don't know why they gave him 2 of these. Actually, in some of the product images, they only had 1 of these, and there was alternate storage for it in the sled mode. What else do we got? The jetpack, as I said, you can just peg that into these 2 slots here. And so he'll have a jetpack with or without the blast effects. Let's see here. Well, I think we took care of all that. The only other thing is this thing. So when you pull this tab down, you can basically hook it onto the backpack here. It's not great, but I guess it's an over-the-shoulder thing. It's whatever. It's fine. But yeah, those are all the weapons. You get a ton. More than that I think we've ever gotten from Fans Toys figure. Usually they're pretty skimpy on that kind of stuff. But this figure is pretty expensive at I think like 200 plus bucks. I think like 215, depending on which retailer you have. So the fact that you do get a lot of accessories does make that a little bit easier, but I'm not going to use, I don't know, like most of this. So if I have a couple guns, a couple faces, I'm usually pretty happy, but this is a lot. But it does make the Sled G1 mode more playworthy. So, all right, let's do some comparisons in robot mode before we do articulation. So let's take a look here. The one that makes the most sense is obviously this guy here. This is the official Ironhide, which I have always disliked. And looking at it now, he looks god-awful. Like, there's so much kibble with butt wheels and the side skirts and the arm. I mean, and the super boring legs here. The rear, really big front, which looks terrible. Like, there's just so much terrible. Like, the weird sides that go like that. I think the transformation was cool, but, I mean, this just looks archaic. Oh, and the big hollow back. Like, this figure was just awful. I don't know how people enjoyed this one, to be perfectly honest. I only have this one on display because I didn't want to use both my Voodoo figures as the same one. So let me bring out the Voodoo toys, which I don't think a lot of people got, which I can understand. It was like a one-off. I think they only made this one mold. But I actually like this look of this one a lot, especially for Ratchet. So yeah, for Ratchet, I like this. Again, this is definitely far from perfect as well, but I think I prefer it over the official. But this guy definitely stands far and away as the best looking one in robot mode, for sure. All right, some other comparisons that I'll do. Where is Springer? I always have to do Springer for Anthony Brown Jr. Where's my Prime? I have no idea where my Prime is. Oh, I found him, sorry. Gotta have Prime for comparison. Sorry, he's super dusty. He's not my main Prime on my display, so. But for official comparison, there you can see. I think he scales quite well. All right, and that'll be it for comparisons for now. Again, I apologize. I don't have any other Ratchets like the more recent X-Transbots one. Hey, T-Man. Sorry for scheduling this late. I barely made it because I ended up having to go to a late dinner. But yeah, those are some comparisons for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at articulation. So starting from the head. Oh, no. I always like to do weight first. This guy is very heavy, and especially in alt mode, he feels very dense and heavy. So let's see how much he weighs in comparison to some of his other counterparts. So he is 458 grams, which is the equivalent of 1 pound, 0.2 ounces. So comparing that to the official, he's only 7.5 ounces. Well, let's go in grams. So 212 versus, what did I say with him? Yeah, so more than double the weight of that. This one's not quite as fair because I have this in here, and he's on more than double the weight of this with his gun. So, as you would expect, very hefty. And he feels solid aside from, again, these weird knee joints. I'm going to see. I haven't had enough time with it to see if I can do anything about that. But usually ratchet gaps, you don't have a lot of DIY solutions for that. So now let's get into articulation. As you can see, his head was on a mushroom peg, so it can rotate 360. He does have kind of that cutout in the back of the head, which gives him a lot of up, which is good because he can fly, right? So with that jetpack, being able to look up is very important. It's not on a ball joint, so he can't bobble. He has a friction joint going out this way, this way. He has very, very tight bicep swivels, like concerningly tight bicep swivels. Like you can see the paint just rubbing off on my biceps. Both of them are like that too. Like I'm getting a lot of paint flakes. And in general, I see that a lot from this figure, more so than I've seen for quite a while with Fans Toys figures. He does have a single jointed elbow, which can go very deep. He has a mushroom pegged fist, pretty standard. He does have the nicer, more rounded looking fingers. So he has the ball pegged thumb joint as well as the pin joint. So you can get all the way around. Each of the 4 fingers has 2 joints of articulation. The pin joint that goes into the palm itself and another one there. He does have that slot in the fist for all his accessories. All right. He does have a ratcheted waist, which is very nice. You can go 360. He also has a ab crunch, which gives him quite a bit of range here. He actually has a hidden sliding joint. I don't know how you would really use this for articulation, but you can do that. You have to give him his ab crunch, and then you can slide the front section forward. Don't know if you can really count that as articulation for robot mode, but it's there should you have more imagination than me. He has front hip skirts, side hip skirts, rear hip skirts. This is one area that was also really weird. His hip ratchets feel terrible. Like, I don't know what's going on with them, but they're not smooth at all, and they don't feel consistent. Like, it seems like almost every joint is, I don't know. They hold really well, they're tight, but they don't feel good to move. I can't. You gotta try it in hand. They don't feel cheap, but they just don't feel smooth. Is the best I can say. They don't feel fun to use. Like you can see, I'm just like skipping ratchets because I'm pushing through one and it'll just jump to the other. It feels very inconsistent. He does have friction joints going out to the side. He does have a thigh swivel, which is a little looser than I would like to be perfectly honest. We talked about his upper knee joint, which is ratcheted, which gives you more than 90 just by itself. And then you have that friction joint, which gives you almost full 180 on that. So that is awesome amount of articulation in the knee, or the knees, to be more accurate. Coming to the foot here, he does have ankle rocker. It's connected in there. And then if you kind of mistransform it or untransform it, you can see he does have toe tilt. You start seeing the inside of that. So you probably don't want to use it too much, but it is there for usage. He doesn't really truly have any toe tilt. There would be one if you unlock it, but it's not for that. Is there anything else to talk about? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So robot mode looks really great. The paint's really great. I like this color that you use for the silver. It's not too shiny, but it is shiny enough. It's kind of just right. The Goldilocks of silvers. And the overall paint separation that they have is nice. The paint choices that they put in, the red looks really cherry red. Even some of the areas here, which I don't know if they're painted, I think they are, but there's slightly different reds here. The yellow stripe doesn't bother me on here, and the dark gray looks, gunmetal gray looks awesome. So yeah. Let's see, where can I go from here? Oh, so I'm gonna go from robot mode, then we're gonna go into alt mode, and then on the way back, we're gonna go into the sled mode, which is weird, the G1 sled robot mode. Because I don't think most people will care about it, and it's kind of a weird detour to go through that. I think most people care about getting into alt mode and robot mode and not this third kind of bonus mode. So that's how we're going to handle it. So first things first, what I like to do is just deal with the hands. You just can come back here, flip this all the way back on itself, rotate the hands in, rotate the arms. Look at that, all this paint coming in undone. Rotate it in 90 degrees and then collapse this in. Same thing on this side here. Rotate this in 90 degrees. Open up this panel, fold it back on itself, fold the fist in like so. From here, you're gonna unlock the arms. So these are the first time I've seen something like this, but you pull out on these and there's kind of two tabs. There's kind of this under tab here that goes in here, and then there's a beefier tab that goes in here. So you just want to bring this down and bring out this little kind of oblique section as much as possible. While you're here, you can go ahead and just rotate this joint in 90 degrees, and you want to rotate this out. This part should be it should be square with this. So this is one of the places where the instructions on the video manual are wrong. They had it like this. You cannot do that. You need every single millimeter space to make this space here. So make sure this is right angle with this part here, okay? Same thing on the other side. We'll just pull out on this. We're gonna rotate this in, up, and then get this forward as much as possible. So that's gonna be very important later, and I'll point it out once we get there. Next, we'll go ahead and open this up, and then we need to kind of undo this tab that was here. You can just kind of wiggle it out, or if you can get behind it. But you can see here that I have paint chipping from the top of this already and the sides of it. And I don't know how this part would get chipped very much because I wasn't ever pulling on it from this way. I was always kind of wiggling it out, but there's some other areas that you'll see that I don't know if the paint is different or what, or maybe it's just bad luck, but there's a lot of paint chippage on this figure for me. All right, so we pulled this forward. We're gonna pull these pieces up 90 degrees. This is one area where I think people might break their figure a lot, these weird pieces here. So when you come out here, what you need to do is pull back on this. You're gonna rotate 180 degrees on this swivel here. And then you need to get this all the way back in front. The problem is if you just try to come at it straight on, you start running into stuff here. You won't have enough clearance there. You won't get enough clearance here. And the main thing is this silver piece here is what needs to rotate forward, like rotate 90 degrees. Not these hinges themselves, but this inner piece here. This needs to come face forward like that. And so I've only found like the easiest way is to kind of get in position like this and then pull it forward from here. So you want to attack it at a slight angle here. So don't come at it square like this because you're not going to get enough room here. You got to come at it at kind of a slight angle. And again, the goal is to try to get this silver piece rotated around. So you saw, it's maybe easiest to say to push it from behind here. And I'm just trying to be very specific because I do think a lot of people are probably going to damage their figure here. So once you get that around, it tabs in here. You can get this back like so. So let's do it on this side as well. So first it was like this. You want to pull it out. You want to rotate 180 or almost close to 180. And then once you get here, you want to come at it from behind. And clear it through like that. So I know that's very nondescript, but that's the best way I can describe it. Again, you're trying to move this silver piece in. Don't worry about this piece. The plastic pieces will come with it. You really need to focus on getting this silver piece rotated the right way. And again, attack it at kind of a angle like this as opposed to coming square out like that, like a door. You want to come in at an angle like that. All right, so hopefully that helps. That's one of the tough areas here. Once you're there, you can open up this window, fold this little flap down, which locks it in. Do it on both sides. All right. From here, we're going to actually lift the body up. So this was kind of down like this. Lift this up, and we're going to extend here. We're going to basically unfurl all these sections. So it uncurls into several sections here. Even back here, if you open this up, you're going to unfurl this. You have this little joint here that is going to rotate up to make the correct molding line. Fold that up and bring that back. And then all the way underneath here is another panel. All right, so after you've unfurled all that, you can take this piece, slide it up on that pin here, bring this down, and then you can line it up like so. Same thing on this side, making sure to slide it up on that pin joint, get it all the way down like so. And then the one piece that you want to make sure you do, and it's easier to see from the inside, is there's two little fillers here. So you want to push this out and push this out, and you can see how that makes basically the rear of the van. Leave these out for now, and I'll explain why. I mean, you can leave them in if you want, rotate them in, but I'll show you why I like keeping them out. Open these tabs. They pull out from the backpack. They're tabbed in here, so just pull those straight out. Straighten out all these pieces. These are also telescoping. You can telescope them out. It doesn't really matter. And so now that you're here, I'll go ahead and collapse this telescoping joint here. You could have done that earlier, but I wanted to show you where that looked like. Keep these out for now. These are obviously going to fold down and make the side windows, but that's where we stand. There's also this weirdly shaped rail here, this telescoping joint that connects to the neck panel. It's not straight, so it's actually at an angle. It comes out kind of flat and then it goes at another angle. It's really weird. I just wanted to show you that because I wanted to show you the shape, but you do need to extend that all the way. All right. Now that we're here, there's kind of a double hinge on the front of the van that you need to pull out like so. You need to straighten this joint out here like this, but you can see that was curled in. You're going to need to make sure that you curl that back in later, but right now you just have the difficult task of making it go straight. There we go. And then you can telescope this in. Oh shoot, telescope this in as well, or you can do it later. It really doesn't matter. You'll have to do it at some point, but you can see that basically makes up the back here. Oh, I mean the top. So now that we're here, I want to fold this in, keep this tab up, and I want to show you what this is going to look like. So you want to fold the head into this cavity here on this neck panel. So you want to fold this all the way and kind of tuck it all the way in like so. So it's kind of, his crest is facing out of the bottom here. And then you can tab this in. It's probably going to come undone, but I kind of like, as usual with my transformations, try to secure as much of the things that are flopping around as possible, so it's not, you're not just dealing with floppy pieces just flopping around the whole time. That can get really frustrating. All right. Now we're going to deal with the arms. So we did most of the transformation already, but a couple of things you're going to need to do are, there are several hinges here. You're going to want to fold all the way back on this one and then fold in as much as you can on the other one. So it ends up being kind of like a V shape. And then this piece here, you want to rotate all the way in until it's square, like so. And again, the key thing here is that this gray kind of rectangular piece here is not angled back like this. It needs to be pushed as far forward as possible and should be basically a right angle with this panel here. So it should kind of look like this. This little tabby thing is down here. The same thing on this side. You want to rotate this hinge all the way back, rotate this one all the way in. Once you have that, rotate at this joint here all the way in as much as you can until that becomes square. And you can see that these two hands will start lining up as two halves. You want to make sure that there is a what's going on here? You want to make sure that there's a gap right here because this hip piece, once we rotate it in, needs to go in between this gap. That's also very important and very critical that they try to show in some of the instructions, but like I said, it's really hard to show on small instructions and it's really hard to show without describing it. All right, the next thing is we're gonna go ahead and do that ab crunch to unlock this sliding joint that allows you to go all the way forward. And again, when you rotate this up, which we're not gonna do right now, when you rotate this up, you need to get this tab piece in between that kind of gap here that was formed by the arms. I'm trying to see if there's an easy way to show it to you now, because otherwise it's kind of like a blind. It's almost like a tab, but it's a tab without being a tab because obviously there's no. It's just a space that you're creating with the arm pieces. But once you get it right, you kind of know you got it right because everything is lined up. This one looks like it's maybe slightly off here. Again, it's just really hard to describe and show at the same time because if this was out of the way, I could show you from the front, but that's why I was trying to show you before. But anyway, just look at this gap here. This tab needs to go into this weirdly shaped space. All right, so let's just leave it at that for now. Let's go down to the lower legs. Let's flip these butt panels up because you're gonna need to tab these in a bit. The first thing we'll do is start unlocking pieces. So unlock this tab here. You wanna unlock this tab here. What's the other tab? Oh, and this tab here, open this up. So these three tabs, open those up. You're gonna be able to pull out either the front or the back. Either way, one needs to go to the back and one needs to go to the front. So pull this out. Once you have this out, you can telescope this joint, this hinge here, and then you can unfurl this piece with a slight yellow line here. You can straighten this out, rotate this around, and then straighten out these pieces on the front, which will end up being the front bumper. From here, this is also on a sliding joint, so make sure you slide this up like so. From here, we're going to fold this on the back of its leg, but you need to make sure that you're rotating at this double hinge here, like so. So that when you have it like this, that tab will go into this butt flap. Like so, and that will lock in. So if you did it right, that should all work. This joint here should be square. This one should be at kind of a weird slight angle. And now we'll deal with the lower part of the leg. I always forget how this part, oh yeah. So we need to rotate this toe out towards the inside of the foot here. This will give you enough room to rotate this part out with the wheel. Rotate this out, and then fold out the wheel. In here, You're going to flip out this rear bumper piece. It's hard to get to, but if you kind of use this as leverage on that side of the pin, or even better, just use a spudger to get behind it. Get that out, and then rotate this like so, 90 degrees. Straighten this out, and then you'll get access to this one. You want to rotate this out. There's a little piece here, a little tab kind of thing. You want to rotate that out 180 and fold this down like so. You can fold this piece back in now, that tab that locked in kind of the leg. And then from here, oh, sorry, let's close this back up and close this tab that we had opened up. Close that back up like that. Keep this toe open like this. That's where one of the video instructions was also wrong. Now we're going to basically double hinge this all the way to the front of the leg. And now we're going to rotate at 2 joints here. We're going to rotate at this joint and this joint. Like that. And you can see how now this is forming the rear of the vehicle. This will come around, and this tab needs to go on in front of the leg here. Like that. It's kind of like an overhook here. You can also close up this rear of the vehicle. Actually, should you have done that first? I guess you can do it first. Like that. And now you can see that the rear of the vehicle is coming together. You can fold this down, and this will tab into here. Keep this one out to the side for now because we're going to need to wrap around stuff. But that is one leg done. So again, the instructions say to point this toe. That is not right. The video instruction, that is not right. This needs to be up. So let's go a little bit faster on the other side now that I explained it once. So undo this tab, undo this tab. And then, oh, this tab here on the outside of the foot, like that. All right, then we can separate the front and the back of the legs. This will come up. You're going to want to take out this yellow piece. Well, we can extend this. Get this around like so. Straighten out this piece, which will be the bumper. You can see a whole bunch of paint scrapes here, paint chips. Make sure to get this one piece out with the yellow piece. Like so. All right, and once again, use this double hinge to get it up and back. Make sure that this part is square, but make this tab fit in with the butt flap, like so. Get that secured. All right, come into the lower leg. And I know people are probably yelling in the chat right now, like, this is super complicated. And I agree. The first time I did it, I was like, this is crazy. This is a lot of work. But it ended up not being that bad after only a couple of transformations. There's a lot of small pieces, but they end up being kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, intuitive. They're not intuitive per se, but they're not that crazy, to be honest. And the upper body was pretty easy. All right. Fold this tab back in. Remember to get this bumper piece out, like so, and rotate it 90 degrees. Point out this the feet there, and then we're going to rotate this piece out. Fold this tab out and close it 90 degrees. All right. Close up this tab. And we should be good to go here. So now we're going to fold this forward. And like I said, now you're going to use both of these rotational joints here to get this rotated and aligned here. And then we'll go ahead and get this piece on the back. Now that we have both halves done, you can tab both halves together. There's a tab here on these toe pieces, a tab on the back here, this tab on either side, goes in front of the leg. This will come down on that double hinge. Oh, sorry, I forgot to slide it on that telescoping joint or that rail piece. Tab that in. And now you can see basically the rear of the vehicle is done. So now all we have to do is get both pieces together. So remember to get the slid all the way forward. We're going to rotate this down. Again, the big thing is get this tab in between these pieces here. And you just need to make sure that everything is aligned correctly for that to happen. So it should be basically horizontal here, these two gray pieces here. And then these pieces should be square, but easier said than done. So just try to push it in here. Get it, try to in between these tabs or these, not tabs, these arm pieces, which again, is so impossible to show. But if you don't get this right, it's going to make the front of the vehicle not sit correctly. And I'm saying that while I usually don't have that much trouble with this part, but for some reason this time I am. The one side is going in just fine. So here, when you see it with open here, you can kind of see what I'm saying. This piece with the screw kind of goes around this, but this one is having a heck of a time doing it. And this piece being floppy is so annoying. So that's why I said I wanted to try to secure as many floppy bits as possible. Okay, so I think I have it. So when you have it right, these should be level and everything should sit back here. There's also kind of a cutout right here that if you got it right, that will, the silver pieces on like kind of the obliques will sit into that groove. So on this side, it's not. So there's something wrong. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So once you have all that positioned, and I'm being very particular because, again, I know I got super frustrated with this and the instructions aren't very clear on that. And again, make sure that these pieces are forward because if you don't do that, you're going to be in for a world of hurt here. So now this piece already came undone. Let's go ahead and get it done back in. I knew it was going to flop out. And you can see all this paint keeps chipping off. Even in this transformation, I've had more pieces chip off here. All right. So you can get the doors down. Keep these to the side here. But now that you have this, making sure that the head goes in. All this will come down. I like having these pieces like this. And then this piece will come over to the rear and tab in. Like so. So that's tabbed in. These are tabbed in. Or should be tabbed in. Oh, what's happened here? Oh, this tab went folded in. Oh man, this piece folded in too. All right. All right. So the reason why I keep this out is specifically for this reason, because if you just push it in, it gets, this tab ends up sunken in. So that's why I said to leave it out like that. And then this piece has a heck of a time going in here. There we go. So once you have it like this and you have these pieces tabbed, then you can just fold this piece in and that will lock everything in place back here. So that's why I said don't fold that in, don't put it flush before. Now we can go ahead and fold in the sides. Real quick, you will need to telescope these or collapse these a little bit, but I find it a little bit easier to actually tab this in down here first and then collapse it like so by squeezing it like that. Same thing on this side. So fold this down, tab these in here, and once you're here, you'll see this gap. Just hold this in place and then give it a squeeze to close up that gap. I find that much easier, but depending on your preferences, maybe you will do it afterwards. All right, now we're almost done. The last thing is this tab will go into this piece here on both sides. You want to start with the right one because the right one goes underneath. So there's a tab here that will go into the front, and then this one does the same. However, this one also folds over this tab here, like that. And you can see just how much paint I've lost. I don't know how this is all happening, but make sure you give it a quick squeeze. I will say that I found that there's an issue with my copy where my right door doesn't always close all the way. A couple things to note is that if you can't get yours to sit properly, look inside the door, and if this red flap is not right up against the silver piece of the shoulders, like if it's pushed out, that means you didn't put the shoulder back, or you need to push this in. Because if you don't push these flaps in, that's why we needed to get that gray piece on the shoulder pushed out at 90 degrees. The instructions on the video do not show that. But yeah, you need to do that. But yeah, my doors sometimes do not seem to sit flush, especially this right door. I always have slightly a gap somewhere. So if I get one gap removed, the door won't close all the way, but it's close enough. I mean, we'll stop there because otherwise I'll complain forever. That said, once you finally get it into the alt mode, it looks really, really good. Like, I think this looks phenomenal here. Door slightly ajar aside, and aside from these paint chips that, you know, just keep showing up continuously, it looks pretty good. Obviously, it's very panely just because it's a lot of panels. I don't think we can get away with not having a lot of panels on the vignettes, but it looks great and it feels super dense. It feels like a brick here. You don't get any like visible head syndrome. Even through the head glass, you really don't see anything there. Not head glass, front glass. You don't see any head there. Everything cleans up quite well. So I really like it. It does have rubber wheels that roll really well. The bad part about the alt mode though is I don't think there's any storage or usage for weapons at all. Like, not even like one. I couldn't find anything. There's only like these tabs here, and it doesn't fit anything. I mean, it's just for securing that backpack. Nothing else fits in here. So that's the only downside. You don't have any weapon mounting points. But I mean, it's a minivan, I guess. So, but I think it looks great. It has like the back solid windows here, which are pretty accurate. Translucent pieces, translucent here. It has the gray square detail at the top, which I think is supposed to be the sunroof maybe. But yeah, overall, it looks really, really good. Rolls really well. Looks very nice. I was trying to get my Ratchet into alt mode, the official Ratchet into alt mode, but I forgot that I don't have him on display and he's in storage. So I don't have that, but I do have, I thought I had a van. I thought I had the Voodoo Toys van. Oh, I do. Here it is. I still have this this Voodoo Toys prototype that I was allowed to preview back in the day after TFCon. But you can see how they scale. They're basically, they're very close to identical. So I apologize. Look for TM or T-Man's reviews. I'm sure they'll do comparisons with the official Ironhide in his alt mode. This is one thing I didn't check before, so we'll check live now, is whether he fits in MP44, which he does. Oh, there was a spider underneath my MP. Oh, actually. Oh, because there's roller in there. I was like, why isn't he going in? But he does fit in perfectly fine. My Optimus Prime trailer was housing a spider. All right. All right, so that took a while for us to get to. Took a while for us to get to alt mode. So we're going to go back. It should be a lot quicker to go back. We are going to make a detour on the way. Oh, so streak comparison. I always forget streak. So he's about the same length as streak, a little bit shorter. He's about the same width, and then obviously not nearly as short, but they seem to scale quite well together. Oh, let me pause and see if there are any questions. I haven't been looking at questions. So let me pause real quick and see if there are any questions. La Monster asks, how's the balance on this guy? The X Transbots one barely stands up. So as you saw at the beginning, he stands up just fine, but he does have really weak ratcheted knees, which have, not weak, but they have a lot of play. So I find that super annoying. LaMonster also asks, what are my opinions on the paint? I think the paint looks really great, but as you can tell, I'm just getting paint chips everywhere, all over here, on the bumper, here, especially on this piece here. This one got even worse in just this last transformation live. There's a lot of paint flaking, the biceps being really tight, so those are some areas of concern. Anthony Brown says, do I have to pay for the Springer Cup? No, you got that one pro bono. Where do you put the Autobot logo? I'm going to put it on the chest. Like, you know, kind of where it's supposed to be on the belly. Pelly says, can you use the van mode windshield for robot mode? And the answer for that is no, unfortunately, you cannot. All right, so those are the only questions that we had so far. If you have more, remember to drop them in the live Q&A. Or if you're watching this on the rewind later, just drop them in the comment section below, and I'll try to get to those as soon as possible. All right, so let's get back. Let's go towards robot mode, but we're going to make a detour on the sled mode, G1 mode. We'll just open these doors real quick. We'll pull these out. You can telescope these out if you'd like. We also want to come up. Remember, this left side needs to come out first. And we want to untab here. Just bring these out to the side. We'll just leave it like this for now. Coming to the back here, again, I like to pull on these hinges first to kind of release that, but like that. Just be careful. It's kind of supported at the hinge. The instruction manual comes up behind it, which I think is a little bit more dangerous, but you do you, whatever you think works for you best. And now that we have that, we can just pull back on here, which will kind of release everything. We'll go ahead and fold forward on the front of the vehicle. Go ahead and activate that ab crunch. And slide this back. And then rotate the ab crunch back down to lock it in place. That just makes some stuff secure up here. Let's go ahead and start with the lower legs, and we'll go work our way up. So it makes it easier if we untab these and then get the hip skirts out. You might be able to wiggle them out like that as well, whichever works for you. But you need to get these hip flaps out. And then we'll take these one at a time. So get this out to the side, split the legs. We're going to rotate the double hinge knee full front down. You can also do the same for the back, but let's deal with the back first, I guess. Just fold up this front section of the bumper, or the long section. We're going to bring this around and to the side like that. This is on the telescoping joint, and we're going to bring this in, and then you want to collapse this telescoping joint on this part right here. And this is going to fold in later. Now we'll come to the feet, kind of start pointing the toes out, straightening all these pieces out like so. We can fold in the wheel, fold this down, and this whole section, we'll straighten this piece out. This whole section is going to rotate all the way around. Make sure to open up the toe here. Rotates all the way out around like that. We do want to get this tab out. And then as we close this up, you can rotate the toe joint down to come around like that. This will come back around like so. And this tab will flip around like that. We do want to rotate, well, let's do this one first. Rotate this, fold up that small little tab that came out, and then rotate that back up. This piece, we're going to rotate 90 degrees, and then fold this in like so. And now we have to rotate all this forward to get the foot facing the right way. Go ahead and close this up. And now we're going to bring this to fill in the calf. Remember to use this double joint here. This is also on the telescoping joint, so you do want to make sure that you collapse that in. Oh, before we do that, make sure you bring this tab out, because that's going to be on the front of the front tab here. Oh, sorry, I forgot to close this one out. Close this up. I was wondering what was blocking it. So telescope this closed. You can also do it afterwards, but go ahead and do that. Everything else should just go in normally. Why does it feel like something's getting blocked here? Oh, sorry, I had this backwards, sorry. So you have to rotate this, not this way, it should be this way. My apologies. That's what it was doing it. Give it a tight squeeze here, close this up. You'll know you did it right because that square peg will go into the front of the knee here. So let's do this on the other side, a little bit quicker. So again, let's fold this down. Fold this tab up. Don't make the mistake I did last time. Rotate this down. This will come around like so. And I think it should be like this, right? I think, yeah. I forgot to rotate it last time and I had it the wrong way, I believe. So it should be this way. All right. I'm going to bring this all the way down. Uncurl this. Now we're going to take care of this. We'll fold this back, fold this wheel in, fold this in on itself 180, and then we're going to rotate this. We're going to rotate this like so and get this down like that. Then we can open up this tab, close this toe up, get it around here like so. Flip this around. We do need to tuck in this silver piece here, so rotate 90 degrees. Tuck that in. Cover that up. This piece we're going to open, flip this tab 180 on itself, and then rotate this all the way back like that. With that, we can go ahead and close up the foot like so. Wait, now did I do it right this time? We're supposed to be this way. No, I think I did have it right. I second guessed myself. All right, there we go. Remember to collapse this in. Oh, no, maybe I did get it wrong again. triple guessing myself. Which way is it? Now I'm confused. I gotta check my other side. Sorry for the reversal. Yeah, so I had it right. Yeah, the long piece should be facing inwards. Oh man. Sorry about that, everyone. Clearly, I needed to practice a little bit more on just that one piece. And I forgot to pull out this tab. That was why I wasn't going in the first time when I was second guessing myself. There we go. Close this tab around. So there are the feet. We got there eventually. Get these butt flaps down. We're gonna come here, and this is where I'm gonna show you how to get the sled out. So the sled is held on by this gray piece, and it slides out. So just sorry, it's easier said than done sometimes. So let's fold this back and then instead pull this way. But you need to pull towards the back of the vehicle. So now we have this sleddy thing. You want to rotate this around, get these treads like that. You're going to come to the back here. You're going to push these treads out like so. The one thing you do need to do is make sure that you're rotating at this inner tab, this inner joint, to get you level. So this needs to sit up flush like that. So there's that smaller joint that's very tight. So that way you get the treads level with each other. All right, on this side, you just need to flip these kind of inside out. Like so. This piece is going to flip out like it did in vehicle mode, essentially. And it sits back like this. There is a little peg here. You want to rotate that up. You want to rotate this tip out like so, and you can collapse this if you want. But essentially, you just want to make this weird kind of shape like that. And then you take that piece here. You're going to peg this onto here. You're going to take this blaster piece, make sure that's folded up. You're going to tab that in here. You're going to take this gun piece, fold this up. I guess you can do it either way. Because again, well, we'll just go with the instructions. They say fold this up and peg this in here. And then this entire thing tabs into this back section here. I guess we'll go ahead and be complete and add this blast effect. This gun, you're going to fold up the handle, and you have to look for the correct side. So this side with the screw, you cannot use. You have to use the other side. That peg that we rotated out will peg into the section that doesn't have the screw. The two guns here have used the handle tabs that go into the palm to go on either side of this attachment piece that we put in. And that gives you basically the sled. I forget if you had to have, I forget the specifics. I feel like they said you have to rotate this up or something like that, or this down. I don't know, but you get the idea. This is basically the sled. The biggest thing is just making sure that you rotate this so it sits flush there, so the treads are level, and then you flip out that peg at the front. And that's the G1 sled, which is hideous in all ways that G1 is. And now we do this kind of weird almost like gear walk mode for Ironhide to give him his headless alt mode here. So we're going to go ahead and just open this all the way up. All right. You do need to push this tab forward, the sliding joint. We're going to fold in the windows. So fold this up, close this down, fold this up, close this down. We're going to untab these pieces here, and then we want to rotate them back while turning. So with that, you can go ahead and rotate these around 180 and bring this back up to get the chest correct for robot mode. So again, you kind of want to untab here and then rotate backwards like that. And then you can rotate 180, get this in. This will fold up like so, which is basically the same as we had for robot mode. I don't think this is supposed to tab in anywhere. But basically it's supposed to look like this. And the arms are supposed to rotate forward like this. And you can extend them like so. So you're getting the arms basically back into regular robot mode. But these are supposed to sit out like this or something like that. Something goofy. You have to rotate these 90 degrees. And it's supposed to sit like this. And this is supposed to be the headless G1 Ironhide mode with his sled. I mean, yay, we have the option for that, but who is ever going to display their figure like this? If you display your figure like this, you should be sent to an insane asylum because it's so dumb. But it did get us partway to robot mode, so we'll just go ahead and rotate the arms the correct way. Open this up, bring this back out, and now we gotta disassemble this monstrosity here. Luckily, it's almost all connected to that main piece. All right, so let's go ahead and reattach the backpack. So we need to make sure that we're coming in from the back. You can see that there's like rails here, and you want to come in from behind like this and slide it towards the front of the vehicle. Oh, gotta rotate that all the way around first. That will give you enough clearance to be able to slide this on. There we go. All right, so let's just pretend that never happened, ever. And we'll go ahead and just rotate this back the way it was. So now it looks like it was the rear of the vehicle. We just need to make sure that a couple things. Let's just telescope all these pieces out because there are 3 sections here. So if you had ignored all of that, we'd be kind of like here. We'd want to rotate this piece in. Rotate this in. This will rotate like so. And then this piece will also have to rotate in like this. All right. This piece will have to slide. Oh, did I already slide this? I'm trying to remember. Okay, yeah. So we do need to slide this like that. Telescope it down like that. This piece will fold in on itself, and these will all rotate around and tab in here. Like so. Then we'll form the backpack. Make sure to squeeze in to get that square with each other. Fold in these treads. Make sure to fold in these space fillers that we had before. Rotate these red pieces out like so. And these are going to come back. And this forms a backpack. Real quick. So a couple of things. You do need to make sure that on this section here, that when you collapse this back down, that you rotate it as much as you can. Remember that small little joint there? Remember to make use of that. Like so. If you don't do that, this will not sit properly. And then this folds up in on itself. This should just come in right. Oh. This should just fold in on itself. Oh, yeah, there we go. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, so these should just fold and close like I was trying to do, but something was blocking it for a second. And then we have to telescope this joint in all the way into the base. Now we have the entire core done. We're going to sit that down like so. We're going to make sure that the chest is transformed. If you haven't done it before, you're going to do it the way we just showed for that weird G1 mode. You're going to bring out this piece, rotate these around like so. Bring out this red tab. And then we're going to go ahead and get the chest tabbed in like so. With that red tab up front, close up the doors, and then close up the arms with this tab and this tab going into the side. There we go. Same thing on this side. There we go. And with all that done, we have Warhorse back in his robot mode. I know that was probably very frustrating to watch, and I know some parts seem very tedious, but they're not that bad. I just wanted to be very specific on those areas because I know 100% if you follow the instructions on the video or try to make sense of the very small pictures, they just can't do an adequate job of telling you those little things like making sure that these arm pieces or those little square pieces are rounded off correctly and so forth. That tab on the front of the van roof has to be folded in. All that stuff is really hard to communicate. So that's why I was trying to be very specific. That said, back in robot mode, I really like this figure. I'm not going to give it like a 10 out of 10 for sure. I don't think I would give it an S rank. I think I'd put it squarely in the A rank. There's a lot of small things about this that are very annoying. The transformation has very specific parts, but even things like the loose knees like this on robot mode. I mean, I think a lot of Fans Toys collectors don't care about transformation and just want a really nice figure that they can articulate and pose in robot mode. But this one, even in robot mode, just with the loose knees, is very, very annoying, right? So it does stand very solidly. And one of the bonuses of actually having the wheels inside the feet is that they give you a little bit of traction so that you get some friction in your robot mode feet. So I don't know if that's by design, but if it was, that's very, very clever. The articulation is better than I found in most Fans Toys figures and really quite adequate with the ab crunch. He doesn't have any butterfly joints, but he does have a good amount of range in the arms. He has good range in the head and the neck. He has awesome knee bends, even if the knees are kind of wonky with the kind of loose friction knee and the weirdly loose indents or detents in the upper knee. But he looks fantastic. There's no questioning. He's by far my favorite looking of the Ironhides that we've gotten. The small nitpicks aside, I think he's still definitely worth buying, especially if you're a big Vanette fan. I'm looking forward to getting Ratchet as well, and replacing both my official and my Voodoo toys with the Fans Toys version. The $200 plus price tag is a lot to swallow. You do get a lot of accessories with that, but it's only up to you whether you think those accessories are really worth it or not, though. For the extra maybe $50 that I feel like they're adding to the price here. That said, I do think he's a good figure overall, price aside. He looks beautiful. Just be careful. Like I said, mine just has a ton of paint scrapes and paint wear after only transforming it a handful of times. So just be careful on that. You don't want to ruin the nice paint that you have on this figure. Luckily, a lot of it is hidden in the robot mode, aside from this neck panel thing here. But that said, I really enjoy it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Let me see what minor questions that you guys have left before we close out this review, okay? So let's see. Parts Former asked if the transformation joints feel like they'll hold up over multiple transformations. So you just got to be careful with a couple of the areas. The ones that bother me are, again, those hinges here. I think a lot of people are going to break their figure if they're not paying attention. Those hinges and how to rotate them, they do feel like if you're doing it improperly that you're stressing it, as opposed to very simple 90-degree unfold folds. That one takes a little more finessing. The other joints feel good. No main problems. If you don't like telescoping joints, so you can see that these telescoping joints came undone. If you don't like telescoping joints, you're not going to like this figure because this one does have a ton. But they feel okay. There's nothing that immediately screams to me like, oh, this is going to break on any of the joints, really. He does have good die cast in a lot of areas, like the knees here. Some of the parts of the foot, I think, are die cast as well. This whole section, this whole inner and front section is die cast on both sides. And even this upper section of the knee here. So all of this is die cast, which adds a lot of stability to the lower leg and gives you a lot of bottom heaviness. The joints on the shoulders, again, they're weird how they did it. But they don't feel like they're going to break or anything like that. Who knows if this tab will wear down over time. But overall, they feel like they'll be fine. Anything else? Yeah, I mean, none of the other things, the other joints felt like they'll be bad. Again, the other area that just feels kind of crappy, and you can see it flaking off here, is just the very, very tight. Look, you can see paint just flaking off on that side here. The very, very tight bicep swivel. Yeah, so that's Parts Former's question. Reminder to close the poll. I will do that. Thank you for the reminder, McLuher G. Oh, so the poll was, do you prefer the young Ironhide that we see here or like the older, grittier faced one that we see here? Apparently 66% of you guys like the grittier, older Ironhide, which is too bad because you only get one face with that as opposed to 5 young faces. McLuher G asked, why did it take almost as long as a triple changer for the transformation? Well, one, I was very detailed in the specific areas because I don't want you to break your figure or get frustrated with the alt mode not coming together nicely. Also, it is a triple changer. We went through the elusive G1 secret mode. Well, not really secret, but that technically is a third transformation, right? So he is a triple changer. That's why it took as long. But yeah, overall, I like it. If you guys want to pick one up for yourself, they still have some available at toydojo.com. Link in the description below to their website. But yeah, I like it. I like this figure. Not an absolute must buy, but if you are tired of the options that we've had to date for Ironhide and Ratchet, this guy is the one to get. Especially if you're not going to transform him too much. Again, I don't actually think the transformation is very bad after you've done it a couple of times, but I'm with you. Like I was talking to my buddy Razor Wire, and he was like, "This figure is a bear to transform," and I felt the same way the first time, but after doing it a couple times, it all kind of makes sense to me. But yeah. All right, well, that's it, everyone. Sorry for taking so long on this review. Almost 90 minutes to just do a basic figure, but again, he had a ton to review as well. Some minor flaws, but overall, I'm very, very happy with him and looking forward to getting Ratchet in my collection as well. All right, for those of you who are going to be at TFCon next in 2 weeks, I was going to try to make it there, but life happens, so I'm not going to be able to make it out there. I hope you all enjoy that time there. We'll be back later this week, actually probably next week, with the first release from Ocular Max's Constructicons. The Letus is on the way to me, so we'll get a full retail review of that figure sometime next week, as long as Chinese mail cooperates. Otherwise, I appreciate your time. If you like the video, give it a like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them out in the comment section below, and I'll get to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great long holiday weekend. Thanks a lot for lifers. Have a good one.